Hi, I'm Lars from Leader Insider. In the next 40 minutes or so, you're going to learn the golden nuggets from 12 rules of life from John Peterson. So actually, this is the second part from this book because this is one of the few gems I would say where I personally got really much valuable information out of. And don't forget, at the end, I'm going to share a secret link where you can download the second part of the PDF from this book. It will only be able in a week this video comes out, so next week there will be the next PDF only available. So download it fast because I know we tend to forget those things we really want because of the internet. And I know there's so many distractions like our mobile phones that constantly want our attention. But it's like reading a great book. You want to put off every distraction and to really immerse yourself into this book. And this series is made up for you to really compound the knowledge of these books I read, that you get the greatest informations in the smallest amount of time because I'm going to chunk them in a informative way, and I promise it all will be worth your time. So you're probably wondering why I'm qualified to talk about these books. So first of all, we have I'm going to mark every book I have with a text marker, and yeah, mark stars there. It's like fifth time I'm telling this, but I think it's really important to get this to know, and mark them with asterisks until they got free. So I read through every book I have 4 times to really get the most valuable knowledge to share it. And this is what I'm doing right now, going to present you the 3 asterisks kind of things I got from this book. The second thing is that only 10% of people that buy such a great book to really improve their life only gets beyond the first chapter. So I want to help out with the greatest insights. So this is only one chapter of this book, but the most valuable information I personally got there. And the third is the 80-20 principle. That most of your accomplishment, of your success will come, 80% of them will come from 20% of the effort. So those asterisks are 20% of the book that makes up the most part, the most insights of this book. And last but not least, I personally believe that knowledge is not power. Knowledge is potential power. Only execution is true power. And imagine what your life will be like if you just save this time putting into these books and save your time reading and only listening. And the great thing is you can listen this like on repeat to really get to know the best insights once and for all. This is how our brain works. It repeats information. So let's get right started where I ended the last time. Don't cast pearls before swine. I this is something I really did wrong. I worked with someone together and gave him those valuable information, but he didn't do anything with it because he don't valued this as much as he should have. So this is the reason I really think that you should pay for lessons, for teachers, a great amount of time, of money or time, because then you will get really hear the stuff. If this video if this video would have cost you 500 €, and and see how much more information you would get out of this video you otherwise wouldn't have. So it's a challenge for you. The answer is simple. Whatever will stop it fastest within reasons, because alternative could be fatal. This is really interesting if we're going to teach our kids anything. We want to stop them contextual and with the smallest amount of force, but we will use force because they need to learn what no means. What no means is the final analysis is always, if you continue doing that, something you do not like will happen to you. Magnitude matters, and so does context. The rule is, come be with us as soon as you can behave properly. And so you can treat your kid from a psychologist's kind of perspective. Treat them with the smallest amount of force. Yes, we should use force so they get to know what no means, but not for all kids. Every kid is different. Some kid, like me, I only needed to hear anything and it was great. But if you used force, I did it again and again. But other kids might need a small amount of force to really not do it anymore. Don't treat your first and second kid or third kid the same. All need to be motivated, all need to be managed, I would say, led differently. The rule is the ancient Jews always blamed themselves when things fell apart. Stop saying those things that make you weak and ashamed, and say only those things that make you strong. Do only those things that you could speak of with honor. So this is basically the saying, you walk, you talk. Practice what you preach. Walk, you talk. If you talk what you're doing and you couldn't possibly even talk about it with another human being, why should you do it anyways? Why should I do this if I can't boast about it? If I can't feel great about what I did? Why should I even do this anymore? Something better might be attained in the future by giving up something of value in the present. And a great example is jerking off. I've never ever seen someone who just told me, hey, I was on a jerking off session and I jerked off 17 times today. And it was completely shallow. This is why the no-nut movement is so great today. I personally would say it's a human, it's a bit against our biochemistry, but one thing we need to consider, I'm not against jerking off. I'm really against, hey, imagine a king 300 years ago. You, who only once, visited a porn website, saw more naked women than he did in his lifetime. Is this normal? It's common, but not normal. Some better might be attained in the future by giving up something of value in the present. This is what most of the successful people do. They sacrifice the present for the future. So practice sacrificing and sharing until you become an expert at it, and things will go well for you. That's the difference between the successful and the unsuccessful. The successful sacrifice. It might even be time to sacrifice what you love best so that you can become who you might become instead of staying who you are. If you sacrifice the future, if you give away now to receive later, you will have tremendous amount of value. If you think about it, one of the easiest examples I would come it comes to my mind is, what happens if something really great happens? I want to share it. And because I share it, it becomes more. Isn't it the same with anything in life? If you share your frustrations, it becomes less. If you share your positive intentions, it becomes more. If you give away your money, it becomes more. Everything you put in comes back tenfold. No tree can grow to heaven until its roots reach down to hell. So one does not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds from the mouth of God. Bread is of little use to the man who has betrayed his soul, even if he's currently starving. First, we need to consider we cannot possibly think that God will give us everything we ever wanted. Because if He really wanted to punish us, He would give us everything we ever wanted. So we have these periods of time where we are just having it's hard as it can be. But because of this, the success, it's much more sweeter. But if I only say, oh, I don't need anything at all, I deny my desires I have in life. And so I start to die. Why should it can't even satisfy me if I get the bread? Because I, as a human being, want to grow, want to improve for the better. And because of this, it's really interesting. I cannot stagnate because stagnation leads to death. There's a rule of nature. Either a tree, you're out there, either it grows or it begins slowly to fall apart. It dies. It's the same with us human beings. For Nietzsche and Dostoevsky alike, freedom, even the ability to act, requires constraint. So if we want to really be free, we need some things to push through to enjoy this freedom at all. I who thinks, the I who was aware, I think, therefore I am. And above all, don't lie. Don't lie about anything, ever. Lying leads to hell. This is one of the crucial things we as a leader need to anticipate. To tell the harsh and bitter truth. Because the truth will set you free. But if you lie, even on the smallest of things, it will backfire soon. Sooner or later, it will backfire. And if you're honest, if you're only honest, you can know where you are right now. And then you can make it better. Otherwise, if you lie to yourself where you are, where you really are, you can't make it better. We founded a company and we lied. We lied where we really are. We're having debt, but we said, oh, it's not that worse because next month will look much better. But how? How could we possibly say this? This is like a men and women are different. Women tend to make small things really freaking big. Men tend to make big things really small. What's worse? Neither of those, because both of them are lying. Somewhere in between. See it as it is, not worse than it is the first step. And the second step is see it better as it is. The third step is make it the way you want it. So I started to practice only saying things that the internal voice would not object to. I started to practice telling the truth, or at least not lying. So this is one thing we may need to consider if we're talking to a woman, not telling anything because she didn't ask to, but it's important, it's lying. Because your inner voice will tell you, hey, you really need to tell this your woman. But if you don't, you're lying. And lying leads to hell. But I had thought it through carefully and had only said things I truly meant. Did what I want happen? No. Then my aim or methods were wrong. I still have something to learn. That is the voice of authenticity. So people's ability to manifest seems to be in alignment with the higher purpose. If we're not able to manifest things, then maybe our goal was out of the purpose we were provided with our life purpose. So change your aim. But if you know your aim is right, and we have some knowing in ourselves, change your methods. Change it up until you win. That's the secret formula every successful person has gone through. Did what I want happen? No. Not the world is unfair. People are jealous and too stupid to understand it's their fault or something or someone else. That's the voice of inauthenticity. For what shall I profit a man if he gains the whole world and forfeits his soul? Don't ever, don't ever lie again, because every reward on earth will make you devastated. If you have $1 million in your bank account, but every day you feel frustrated and pissed off, how's your life? If you have nothing, zero, null, niente, nada, but every day you're grateful and happy, how is your life? Every bit of learning is a little death. Every bit of new information challenges a previous conception, forcing it to dissolve into chaos before it can be reborn as something better. So this is really great, because once this is running circuits into my head, because uh, right now I'm feeling like, yeah, I as a man want to kill things, and new information is killing. Oh, nice. So this is one denominator that got learning for me to be really exciting, because it's every new insight is a little death. I killed something, and this is such a great feeling. Your soul will reject the tyranny of your will. Memory is a tool. Memory, like every tool, can be modified. Memory is what you will make up on. Memory is really perceptual. True thinking is rare, just like true listening. Thinking is listening to yourself. It's difficult. To think, you have to be at least two people at the same time. Then you have to let those people disagree. Think and Grow Rich from Napoleon Hill actually has a section in his book where he's providing you with this concept, only with the practical application of it. Basically, what it means, you're a lawyer, but also your defender. And at the end, you're saying who either won this process. So on the one hand, really want to discuss with yourself to see the truth. And it's really applicable and really awesome. Just read through the book at I would say the second last or the last chapter is where it is. Remember, before a problem can be solved, it must be formulated precisely. This is what I'm saying if you ever heard me saying, the truth will set you free. Clarity by itself can be curative. Formulate a problem precisely to solve it. It's like all these great people. This is what John Peterson's saying. Anthony Robbins says the truth was not the truth, but the second side. I really need to consider my time. Yeah, but I hope you got it. Problem formulating conversation. Really interesting tool, really helpful. For me, it just solved a really big problem once I started to use it. What you perceive as your computer is like a single leaf on a tree in a forest. Chaos emerges in a household bit by bit. But to that you have to think. What is wrong exactly? What do I want exactly? When untrammeled and encouraged, we prefer to live on the edge. We're hardwired for that reason to enjoy risk, some of us more than others. So living on the edge, living with one foot in your comfort zone and one foot out of it, this is where real growth comes. This is where you truly start to feel happy. Because in order to feel happy, we need to grow. If you cannot understand why someone did something, look at the consequences and interfere their motivation. So if you really want to know, why did this person yet said so harsh things to me? And what consequences did this lead up? Or things about me? Oh, it led up that they got the promotion, not me. So all they care about is money. Okay, now I got it. Girls can win by winning in their own hierarchy, by being good at what girls value as girls. They can add up to this victory by winning in the boys' hierarchy. Boys, however, can only win by winning in the male hierarchy. They will lose status among girls and boys by being good at what girls value. They understood as well and perfectly well that it was the market that defined success, not the men they worked with. First, women have a strong proclivity to marry across the economic dominance hierarchy. They prefer partners of equal or greater status. Men who are perfectly willing to marry across or down. So this is basically, in a nutshell, dominance hierarchies. We men have our own hierarchies, and if women start to corrupt them or start to take them over, what do we men simply do? We went to the next and the next and the next. Why is it that sports, football, for example, are not mixed? Yeah, it might maybe be because the females are much weaker, but what about 50-50? There's 11 players on the football field, so 5 of them need to be women on either teams. Would it be fair? Most probably. Would men choose another sport? Most likely. And we as men want to look for a partner that's similar to us or below, because most women who are making more money than their men, over 90% of them leave their men within years. So this is really something we need to consider if we're talking about getting women in higher paying jobs. It's like the bricklayers John Peterson is telling, why don't we talk about them? Every word we speak is a gift from our ancestors, even though we think it was a thought previously by someone smarter. Yeah, this might be a three-parter. Here's an alternate theory. Throughout history, men and women both struggled terribly for freedom, for the overwhelming horrors of privation and necessity. Really interesting because we both suffered. It's not a man's world. We men were just out there providing for our women, and we both suffered. And it's just in the newer world that we all became the rights, the privileges we have right now. This is one of the greatest issues we have today in the world, I personally believe, that our expectations will grow much more rapidly than how than our technology, how great life is. So a new technology, for example, AI, comes around. How fast was it that we take it for granted? Was it possible a few years ago? Yes, it was dream thinking, and now everyone like, oh yeah, I use it, yeah, just chilling along. Our expectations are so high up there, and they start to climb. This is something if we want to be happy, we need to get rid of the law of familiarity. Expectation color what we notice, yes. But if anything is around us enough, we take it a little bit for granted. Don't ever take your partner for granted. Furthermore, the most valid personality trait predictor of long-term success in Western countries are intelligence, as measured with cognitive ability or IQ test, and conscientiousness, a trait characterized by industriousness or orderliness. There are exceptions. Entrepreneurs and artists are higher in openness to experience. First, it is not the case that aggression is merely learned. Aggression is there at the beginning. So aggression is what we men inherit, women as well. But women need to find another vehicles than punching each other, because in a women's world this is a no-go. Without her capacity to speak, without the logos, without the divine word, she will remain underwater, unconscious forever. For what shall men enforce the code of behavior on each other when working together. Do you work? Pull your weight, stay awake and pay attention. Don't whine or be touchy. Stand up for your friends. Don't suck up. Don't snitch. Don't be a slave to stupid rules. Don't mind in the immortal words of Arnold Schwarzenegger, be a girly man. Don't be dependent at all, ever, period. These are the rules we're playing along in business. And woman, these are the rules we all need to work with. The harassment, and this is really a big thing for women, because don't suck up and don't snitch. And do your work. And pull your weight. So women actually come up with a solution, like I talked earlier with a friend of mine, and she's going, hey, she told me it's actually so that women come up with the solution when they talk about the problem, but in the business world, you don't talk about, you solve them, you give me directly a solution. But women most likely find it irresponsible not to hear anyone to come together to a solution. But this is not what men in business want to hear. They want to hear, this is the solution, let's get right started. The harassment that is part of acceptance on a working crew is a test. You are tough, entertaining, competent, and reliable. If not, go away. Simple as that. We don't need to feel sorry for you. We don't want to put up with your narcissism, and we don't want to do your work. Stay strong. Men have to toughen up. Men demand it and women want it. If they're tough, they want someone tougher. If they're smart, they want someone smarter. They desire someone who brings to the table something they can't already provide. As simple as it is. Provide more for your woman as she can. I came to realize through such thoughts that what can be truly loved about a person is inseparable from the limitation. When you love someone, it's not despite their limitations, it's because of their limitations. If you really think about it, this is what women always knew and we men really have to learn. Where bonding really starts is when we're talking about problems, and problems really start to bond, and for a fact we're human beings, and problems are a sign of life. So we all have problems, we all have shortfalls, we all do mistakes. But if we can't even talk about them, we can't even bond to another human being. The party of your brain that generate anxiety are more interested in the fact that there is a plan than in the details of the plan. So this is really interesting. So before I started this video, I did a plan for my week, and my writing is not that great, but I have every minute scheduled from my week. Why am I doing this? It's because your subconscious mind knows, oh, okay, this he's creating today. And so it can, so the anxiety part is, okay, we know what to do and we don't need to feel overwhelmed. Everything is all right. But every time on the end of the week, I feel, oh fuck, what do I need to do next week? And or what do I want to accomplish? Oh, I have so much. And then I'm doing my weekly planning process and everything just falls apart, and I can relax once again. But God, whatever or whoever he may be, is no simple grantor of wishes. Perhaps you could ask instead what you might have to do right, now to increase your resolve, buttress your character, and find the strength to go on. Perhaps you could instead ask to see the truth. Perhaps that is the true prayer, the question. What have I done wrong? And what can I do now to set things at least a little bit more right? But your heart must be open to the terrible truth. So this is what I really also noticed. If you're asking yourself a question and you really want an answer, you get it sooner or later. But you have to asking precisely, and you have to be willing to ask and again and again and again. From casting pearls before swine and from camouflaging your vice with virtue. What shall I do when my enemy succeeds? Aim a little higher and be grateful for the lesson. Gratefulness. One of the most important lessons I've learned. Because can you ever be grateful and feared at the same? No. In my personal references, I could never be this. Gratefulness, being grateful, feeling grateful is the antidote of fear. And fear is what stops most of us. And if you're like me and you're really striving for success and telling, hey, I'm such a successful guy, I'm so driven, I'm not fearful anytime. I'm stressed. stress is a successor's word for fear. So I always said, hey, I'm not fearful, I'm just stressed. Yeah, but stress implies fear. Fear of not being enough and not doing it right. So this sums up today's episode. I didn't went overboard, nice. And you're able to download these papers, these sites from this book down below, but you need to consider only the active week, the week this video comes out, it's available on this download link. So go to flowfulfunnel.com/golden-nugget-show. Thanks.